All right, so here we are in AutoCAD. We are ready to start drawing. I have already established, so this is, of course, my drawing template. So let's go ahead and do a real quick. We're going to go and do a file, save as. So, and you are going to save this as locator part hyphen your first initial followed by your last name. I need to navigate through to where I'm going to be saving this. So this is going to be in my drafting 103 file. So we'll save this as locator part hyphen first and last. So now I've already got that taken care of. Now notice up here, so if you've used your template file at this point, we've got our object line layers, our center line, construction lines, dimension lines, our front viewing plane, our hidden line layer, or side viewing plane, and our top viewing plane. So we've added those layers in here, and I'm going to start out on the construction line layer. So now, we are physically actually going to draw a construction line, and AutoCAD does give us a construction line in our draw panel. So if you go to your home tab, to your draw panel, you kind of look through and navigate, you hit the drop down arrow there, you will see that we have a construction line right here. So we're going to go ahead and click on that construction line. Now here we're going to be given a point, so we're going to say 0 tab. 0 is the point, that's our insertion point. We'll hit enter. Now it wants us to specify through point. Now this is basically going to kind of give us a length of the line. So I'm going to say 20 tab 0 degrees, and I'll hit enter. That just dropped. Let me kind of come up here in the screen because you really can't see that. So that just dropped the horizontal line. So at the same point now, I'm going to say 20 tab 90 degrees, enter. That dropped my vertical line. And I'm done with this at that point. Now notice I could still keep dropping construction lines that are at different angles to that point. So, but we're finished with that, so we're good. Now we'll go to the offset tool, and we're going to start to offset the line. So I'm going to go offset. Now remember, when you use the offset, the first thing you have to do is set the distance. And we're going to offset the vertical lines first. So the first vertical line here is going to give us our width, and we said that was 5. So I'm going to go 5 and enter. Then I'm going to select the vertical line. Move your mouse over to the right, so that's going to drop that line on the right side of the construction line. So okay, now I'm going to go back. I'm going to select this line, move over. Now this is auto defaulting to 5. This is the space that we want. So we're going to go 1.5 is our space. So we're going to click that line. We're going to move over to the right, and this is going to be our depth, and our depth equals 3. So that gives us those 4 vertical lines. Don't exit out of the tool yet, so now we need to come back. So we're going to go and to the horizontal line. We're going to left click on that, and this of course is going to be our height. So our height was 2.5. So click on that line, and our space, remember our space equals our space, so that should be 1.5. And now clicking here, and this is our depth, and our depth equals 3. So there we've got 8 out of the 9 lines. We got to think about where the 9th line is coming from. We are good to go ahead and get out of the offset line tool. So right click, enter to get out of that tool. So, and at this point I'm going to come up and just go ahead with a regular line. And if you remember the 9th line, so we've got our front view that is right here. The 9th line starts at the corner of the front view. Now, looks like my object snaps aren't on, so let's go down and take a look here at the object snaps. So right here's our object snap. Let's click that drop down arrow. notice what I have on. I've got endpoint, center, tangent. I want intersection on now. I'm going to turn off tangent and I'm going to turn off center. So I don't need those. So I just need intersection and endpoint at this point. So now I'm going to go back here. So this is my point where I'm going to start the 9th line, and I'm going to move this up and over. Now remember, so you will see it is auto default. You got that snap point there, but I mentioned don't use the snap point. Draw this up and over. Whatever the line is, just tab over and make sure that you physically enter this at 45 degrees. So right click and enter to get out of the line. So that way it makes sure if you have messed up on your space, or if you've messed up on your depth, which is common for people to do when they're first starting to learn how to do this, by starting and drawing your line and making sure that you're putting it in there at 45 degrees. If you've messed up on that, that'll be a check. All right, so now we need to kind of go through and get rid of everything except for the 9 lines. So let's go to our cut menu. So here's our trim. So we're going to power trim these out, just kind of walk right around and trim those out, and now I can zoom it in. So there are the 9 lines established for our actual locator part. So let's kind of come up now. So at this point, we're going to have to continue. We can't just go in and start drawing in the object view now, because the image, so if you recall, so we've got kind of an L-shaped part in here. So now we're going to have to kind of go back and we're going to have to do some more offsetting of the lines. So let's stay in our construction line layer for right now. Let's go back to offset. So, and we're going to take a look, and we're going to start with the front view. So, and we're going to look and see, okay, what lines do we need to offset in the front view? Well, as we're looking at the isometric, I see a dimension of 0.25. So, and that comes from this side. So I'm going to click on here, and we're going to offset that by 0.25. Now, if I go down to the other corner, looking at this, we see a dimension of 1.75. So I'm going to select this line now, move to the left, and we'll say 1.75 and hit enter. So those are the only 2 dimensions that I see coming off of the front view right now. Nope, I actually see in the top, we're going to come off of our edge here, and that's going to be 1 inch. So we're going to see that at 1 inch as well. So now let's stop for a second. Now that we've got those vertical lines, so I'm going to escape out of my offset tool. So, and we are going to select, so this line, and that line. Those are the 3 vertical lines that we offset that are going to be the interior lines that we're going to be needing to draw. So let's go ahead and let's place those on our front viewing plane. So, all right, so those are our front viewing plane. Now, I also have to offset some of the horizontal lines here too. So let's kind of come back in here now. Let's go back to my offset tool. And as I'm looking, we know that we've got a 1 inch line. So coming off of the bottom horizontal. So let's project that up at 1 inch. And at this point, that is the only thing that I see. I don't really see anything else coming through for that. So let's go ahead and escape out of our offset line. Click on that one, and let's get that on the front viewing plane as well. All right. So now, this is where it's going to start to get tricky for you to kind of take a look and say, all right, well, what do I know here, and how can I start to fill this in? And you're really going to need to kind of use your projection lines as we go to try to figure some of this stuff out. So, and at this point now we got to do some offset lines and projection lines from the front view, or from the side view, or from the top. So we can sit here and say, okay, what should we go with next? So, well, I see more in the side view, so I'm going to start with the side view. So let's go back to our offset lines. Now, remember, so before I do this, I'm going to uncheck this for a second. Now, remember, our front view, so as we, our front view is, our side view here is basically this boxed in section. So this right here is what everything in the side view is going to fall within these construction lines. So now we're going to use either this line, this line, this line, or that line to offset that. So let's go ahead and hit escape to get out of there. So turn on my offset and let's take a look. Well, I've got a 0.25 offset line from this one. So I'm going to select here and I'm going to offset that 0.25. Now, that looks like it is going to be coming from both sides. So we're going to say, all right, well, I also got that coming from here. And we see then that there's a 1-inch groove in there, and that groove is centered. So we know 3 inches minus 1 is 2, and that is in the center. So we can go ahead and say, all right, well, that means that from here over, when we go to offset that, so let's go to offset here. So we're also going to offset this one 1 inch. So I'm going to say that's offset 1 inch from here, and this line is also offset 1 inch from there. So let's go ahead now and double check on our offset line. So I got this line, this line, this line, and that line are all what I am offsetting on the side view. So let's go ahead and put those in the side viewing plane. Okay. Now, we're going to project these lines over into the top view. So let's go back in and let's activate our side viewing plane lines here. And now we can go to our line tool. So every intersection point now. So we're going to project up and over. So now you can just kind of let this overhang. So as far as the distance, so we'll go tab over. This is going to be 180 degrees. Right click and enter. So right click, repeat the line. Let's go over. So again, doesn't matter on the distance here. We're just getting these at 180 degrees. So right click, repeat the line. So at this intersection point, over. So tab over and make this 180 degrees. Now, you can also be thinking, well, how can I make this easier? Well, we could also be using our ortho snap. And that way it would make sure that these were horizontal lines as well. So either way, so the main thing is to get these projection lines up and over there so we know where things are going to fall. So let's go ahead and trim these out. Okay. So, and as you can see now, things are starting to get jumbled up. So this is where we got to start to say, all right, we really, really need to pay attention to where things are at and how things are going to be looking in here. So, but I'm at a point now, I believe, so that I can almost kind of start to come in and take a look at where things go, and we can kind of start to fill some information in. So let's go ahead and go back now to our top view. So here, or to our object line layer, and let's take a look. So, all right, at this point, we know that we're going to have a line here over the whole length. It's going to go up 1 inch. It's going to come back over to this 1 inch point, and we're going to kind of come in right